Welcome back. In the wake of last week's about-face regarding the separation of illegally immigrating children from their parents, a federal judge in California has ordered the Trump administration to reunify fractured families within 30 days. Meantime, in the Republican-controlled House, a compromise immigration bill providing relief for so-called dreamers and billions for Trump's border wall did not muster enough bipartisan support for passage. In other words, the stalemate on this critical issue will almost certainly continue through the midterm elections.
This bill would have secured the border. This bill would have provided certainty, secured a future for approximately 2 million young immigrants brought to our country as children, the victims of a broken immigration system.
Okay, Tony, I'm going to throw this at you. Do you want to compromise, or do you want to maintain this issue for the midterms?
Well, how about this? Congress should have figured this out already. And this is why we need checks and balances. I'm glad we have checks and balances, because courts can say, guess what? You're doing something unjust. This is why it is tragic that we're talking about stacking the deck of the Supreme Court, which is supposed to be the ultimate law. And really, the only thing we can do now is count on voters to come out. I'm proud of not just Latinos, of everybody who has stood up against this terrible practice of separating families. And I'm also calling out Ted Cruz. Does Cruz care about kids? And I want to tell folks, yesterday, thousands of people demonstrated across the country, thousands here in Houston, Texas, and they marched to his office to demand that he stop tearing families apart. So I want to know, Cruz, do you care about kids? And I want you to vote on that, people.
Same question to Jessica Colon. Do Republicans really want some type of compromise immigration plan that can at least move us a little closer?
Absolutely. It's the Democrats that have been obstructing it in the halls of Congress for the last year. You know, the bottom line here is that Cruz actually wrote a bill to bring families together, actually, Tony, if you were paying attention. And so what we're looking at is these paid-for protests that are becoming, you know, more diluted because
Can I answer
the big money that's coming in to pay for these protests, it's losing the effect of the impact that they want to have on the dialogue, because it's probably, you know, these Hollywood stars that
it's a conspiracy theory. Nice conspiracy theory.
They may be getting paid for their appearances. I'm going to start looking at the reports.
That's delusional.
Okay, I'm going to go back to what's on paper now. Carmen, give me a sense of what the rationale, or do you know anything about what the federal judge in California ruled in terms of like ordering families to be reunified?
Yes, so children that are under 14 need to be reunified within 15 days with their parents, and kids over 14 within 30 days. And basically, a federal judge in California said this is intolerable, and it is. Not maybe the impact of the immigration or the fact that the laws are being enforced, but the way that they're enforcing them is just something that is untenable in America. And everybody who watches the TV sees these kids being separated and pulled from their parents, and I don't think anybody's on board with that. But that's a separate issue, obviously, from the immigration.
Republicans think those kids are paid actors.
Hold on for a second. Let me go to Bill King here. You know, what we have are families that are coming across the border without permission. They're technically breaking the law. They're breaking the law. Now, you know, whether we split them up or not, that's at the core of all of this. And we haven't figured out a way to solve this issue.
Yeah, so the performances you just saw by Jessica and Tony are exactly why this problem doesn't get solved. Neither party wants to solve this problem because both of them view it as an animating issue for their bases in the midterm elections and in the 2020 elections. They're not going to solve it because they care more about their political parties staying in power than they really do solving this problem. And look, this is a problem for not just the immigrants whose families are being separated. That's awful, but it's also a problem for Americans that we have all these people coming in and creating problems here as well. You know, people getting hit in car accidents and nobody having insurance, the crime that's associated. This is a problem for everybody having a broken immigration system. It needs to be fixed, and shame on the Republicans and the Democrats for caring more about their political power than they do about taking care of the American citizens.
That's not true, though.
And these immigrants.
I care more about about the kids in the cages. I care about the kids in the cages.
I care about the kids.
Hold on, Nyanza, 45
Get
seconds.
the kids out of the cages. Cruz, get the kids out of the cages.
Okay.
Nyanza.
Bye, Cruz.
Okay, so
Lion Ted.
maybe we need to all think about the bigger issue is, you know, the standard in Texas is what is in the best interest of the child when you're in family law. And so if we, you know, modeled our immigration system, whether it's broken or fixed, about what's in the best interest of the children, then we would think that their best interest is to be reunited with their parents, whether they're on this side of the border or our side of the border. And I think that making it a political fight back and forth, you're really letting the children slip through the cracks. And there's no time for the kind of back and forth malarkey about Cruz this, Cruz that, marching this, who's paid and who's not. Because all I know is I don't think any Hollywood actor has gone to any of those jails where those children are being housed and said, let me specifically help you get back to your mom.
Marcus Davis.
You know, something is really baffling, right? We have the GOP blaming the Democrats for immigration and saying they're not stepping up to the table, that they need the Democrats, right? But you got a Supreme Court issue coming up where you're saying we don't need the Democrats. You can't have it both ways. You can't say we're powerful enough as the GOP that we can put a Supreme Court justice, we got all the votes. Well, where are your votes for immigration? Where are your votes for immigration? If you've got all the power to solve the Supreme Court issue, then why in the hell don't you have all the power to solve the immigration issue?
You know why,
because
Marcus?
you're full of crap. These kids, that's important. And those who are loving kids, let's not forget, we've got kids right here in America. And this is not a slant on the kids that are at the border, but those of you who love the kids, we've got a foster care problem in the state of Texas, in the United States of America, that we're not running to take care of. We've got kids who are victims of an unjust incarceration system who are leaving kids at home because dad is racked up on charges or mom is racked up on charges or addicted to the drugs that we've put into the streets, and we're not running to take care of those kids. I'm amazed how much we love kids, and then we want to reverse Roe versus Wade so we can have women have more kids that we don't want to take care of. Get out of here.
Gonna leave it there. Up next, a huge election this week south of the border. We talk implications in the era of Trump. Stay with us.